Hi y'all. New tuners came in, so let's get those thrown on real quick. I've got them on the guitar already, just laid in there, and I'm not using anything specific to make sure that these are straight. I'm just eyeballing them, but being really careful with how I eyeball them. So we want these straight across from each other like this, and they're going to be straight up and down. We're not going to follow the curve of the headstock. So I've got these already where I want them, and I'm going to pull out my little pen and mark the screw holes on all of these. Alright, you're not going to be able to see these dots on the video. They're very faint, but that's okay. It's enough that I can see them. I've already got my bit picked out. It's a 16th inch bit for this tiny little screw, and I've got it taped off at, I think, 5/16 for the depth gauge. Let's throw a tuner on and see how that works. This one looks good, it's on there good, and I didn't over tighten just like on the Bigsby, the vibrato system. We don't want to strip out the wood because you got to have something for those screw threads to fit into. So rinse and repeat for the rest, and I'll cut away to that. Okay, y'all, these are installed. I think they look good, really good. You see I've got the guitar propped up on a box right there. That's to get the headstock more level as I was working on it. Ooh yeah, I'm happy with that. Oh, you can't see it. There you go. That looks good. Cool, let's move on to the reason you're here, electronics. Okay, so for this, we're not going to change anything with the output, or the tone pot, or the volume pot, or how the volume connects to the selector switch. We're just going to remove the pickups. Just like that. Okay, let's pull the old pickups out. So we need to thread the cable through the holes that are drilled for it. You could try to push these loose wires through, but because these are GFS pickups, they have this quick plug thing. It's just like a 4-pin headphone jack. I think it's going to be easier to do it like that. Oh, but the other way. And I should start on the back side because, you know, that makes sense. So because these cables are identical, I'm just going to put a little piece of tape on this one, and I'll just designate this as the neck pickup. So here's that. Here's our neck, which I already put the pickup ring on, and you can see that this one is a different staggered height, so that, you know, the bridge on these style guitars sits up a little higher, so this one has to be a little higher. So the smaller one is the neck. All right, I'm going to start with the connecting wires, wires that are going to make jumps in places. When you're dealing with these switches, you want to work kind of quickly, because if you apply too much heat, these little terminals can melt the plastic around them, and then you've ruined your switch. Okay, so I've got all those points soldered up so far, and I want to point out what we've got. We've got these terminals soldered together with the same wire. That's going to go to ground. This top terminal here is going to ground. This bottom one is going to go to the selector switch out. And we've got these crisscrossed wires. So when this switch is in the down position, this terminal is where we're going to put the north start for the neck pickup. It'll hit here and cross over to the output. This is where the south start will be, so when it's at this position, it's going to follow this wire to ground. Then when we flip the switch, the north will follow this wire to ground, and the south will go to the output. That's your phase reverse. So for the coil split switch, we're going to be using this wire, which is a common north and south finish. GFS does that common on humbuckers that have a metal casing. So each of the pickups, north and south finish wires, are going to go on the center lugs of the coil split switch here. And when the switch is in the down position, it will be common with these open terminals, so it'll just act like a continuous wire. And when you put it in the up position, each of the north and south finishes are going to go to ground. So like on the bridge pickup here, we've got the south start already grounded. We've got the north start at the output. So when you send the south and the north finish to ground, then you both have both the south start and the south finish grounded, and that eliminates it from the circuit. So that's how you just end up with the north coil coming out. Okay, now that I've finished wiring, I'm going to show you guys an issue that I ran across, because I think it's important to show these troubleshooting steps. So when I finish a project like this, I like to check for continuity a certain way. So I've got the guitar plugged into my amp, and I'm going to turn it on the high gain channel. And I just use the end of a screwdriver here, or this screwdriver bit, because it's magnetic, and go through and just touch. Okay. So when this switches up, it should be both sides, and on the bridge pickup, it is. And the phase switch doesn't have any effect on the bridge pickup. Now the neck is where I had the trouble. So this should be normal in phase and both coils. And I get that one, but not that one. You can hear it a little bit, but that's not, it's not coming through. However, when I switch the phase, now I've got both coils, and you can tell the difference. Between those. So I think I know what the issue is. So here's what was going on. I figured it was probably an issue, a grounding issue with the coil split switch, since the coil splitting wasn't working right. So I went back through the signal path and I found a cold solder on the ground lug for the selector switch. So what was happening is the wire coming from the coil split switch to the ground wasn't soldered well, and it was actually common with this wire coming from the phase switch that connects the phase switch to ground. So what was going on is when the phase switch was in the normal position and the coil split switch was engaged, our south start was going to ground and the north-south finish was connected to that wire. So we still had the south start and south finish going to ground. It was still eliminated from the circuit like it was supposed to be. But when you engage the phase switch, now we have the south start going out, and this wire that's carrying the north start to ground, all of a sudden it's got the north and south finish coming back up it, back through the north coil. So it was sending all the signal through the north coil, and it was acting like some kind of weird parallel humbucker, I don't know, but it wasn't right. So I took everything off of this lug and got all of the old solder off of it and rewired everything to it much better and got a good solder joint on it. So when you're trying to troubleshoot an electronics project like this and you have some weird sound issues going on, 9 times out of 10 you're going to find the issue by just going back through your schematic or going through your signal path and looking for bad solder joints, because that's all this was. There was a cold solder here. The ground from the coil split switch was common with the phase switch, and it was messing everything up. So take everything off, put it back on, do it right, and problem solved. Alright, so the way that these switches work, when they're both down like this is in phase and humbucking. Up splits the coils of both pickups. Up reverses the phase of the neck pickup so that these are out of phase with each other. So when you flip to the bridge pickup, this will split its coil. In the rhythm, in the neck pickup, this will split its coil. This splits both coils in the middle position, and this reverses the phase. And it reverses the phase regardless, but when it's just the neck pickup, it doesn't matter which phase it's in. The in phase, out of phase only matters when both pickups are active, so in the middle position. And that does it for this video. I'm going to shoot one more, and that will include some sound clips so that we have an A/B test, and I'll show what those switches sound like too. All right, thanks for watching.